When the calèche stops, the driver jumps down and lends out his hand to assist Jonathan to alight. Jonathan notices the prodigious strength of the driver. His hands felt like a steel vise. The driver takes Jonathan's strap and places them on the ground beside him as he stands close to a great door, old and studded with iron nails, and set in a projecting doorway of massive stone. The stone is massively carved, but worn out of time and weather. As he stands there, the driver jumps again into his seat and shakes the rein. The horses starts forward and the calèche disappears down one of the dark openings. Jonathan stands in silence, for he does not know what to do. There is no sign of a bell or a knocker. The time seems endless and he feels doubts and fear crowding upon him. He rubs his eyes and pinches himself so as to confirm it's not a nightmare. All he could do now is to wait patiently till the coming of the morning. Just as he arrives at the conclusion, he hears a heavy step approaching behind the great door and sees through the chinks the gleam of a coming light. There is a sound of rattling chains and the clanking of massive bolts drawing back. A key is turned with a loud great noise of long disuse and great doors swing back. Within stands a tall old man, clean-shaved for a long white mustache and clad in black from head to foot, without a single speck of color about him anywhere. He holds in his hand an antique silver lamp in which the flame burns without a chimney or globe of any kind, throwing long quivering shadows as it flickers in the draught of the open door. The old man mentions Jonathan in with his right hand with a courtly gesture, saying excellent English but with a strange intonation. "Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own free will." He moves impulsively forward and holding out his hand grabs Jonathan's with a strength which makes him wince, an effect which is not lessened by the fact that it seems cold as ice, more like a hand of a dead man. Jonathan asks interrogatively, "Count Dracula?" The man bows in a courtly way and replies, "I am Dracula and I bid you welcome, Mr. Harker, to my house. Come in, the night air is chill and you must need to eat and rest." He takes Jonathan's luggage in, saying it's too late and his people are not available. He insists on carrying Jonathan's trap along the passage and then up a great winding stair and along another great passage on whose stone floors their steps rings heavily. At the end of that, he throws open a heavy door and Jonathan rejoices to see within a well-lit room in which a table is spread for supper and on whose mighty hearth a great fire of logs, freshly replenished, flamed and flared. The Count halts, putting down Jonathan's bags, closes the door, and crossing the room opens another door which leads into a small octagonal room lit by a single lamp with no sort of windows. Passing through that, he opens another door and motions Jonathan to enter. This is Jonathan's bedroom, well lit and warmed with another log fire. The Count himself leaves Jonathan's luggage inside and withdraws, saying before he closes the door, "You will need, after your journey, to refresh yourself. I trust you will find all you wish. When you are ready, come into our room where you will find your supper prepared." Jonathan reaches to his normal state with Count's courteous welcome. After refreshing himself, Jonathan goes to the other room where he finds his supper already laid out. His host, who is standing on one side of the great fireplace, makes a graceful wave of his hand to the table and says, "I pray you be seated and sup how you please. You will, I trust, excuse me that I do not join you, but I have dined already and I do not sup." Jonathan gives the Count a sealed letter which Mr. Hawkins had entrusted to him. Count Dracula opens it and reads gravely. Then, with a charming smile, hands it back to Jonathan. Jonathan is a solicitor and Peter Hawkins is his senior. Jonathan had come to meet Count Dracula to purchase him a land at Purfleet in London. Hawkins in his letter had written that he is not fit for travelling because of an accident and therefore has sent his substitute Jonathan Harker to Count Dracula, and that Jonathan Harker is very efficient and will take Count's instruction in all matters. Jonathan does have a fine supper. After that he is offered a cigar by his host Count Dracula, again excusing himself for he doesn't smoke. Both sit for a chat. Jonathan notices Count Dracula has a strong face, very strong, aquiline, with high bridge of thin nose and peculiarly arched nostrils, with lofty, domed forehead and hair growing scantily round the temples but profusely elsewhere. His eyebrows are very massive, almost meeting over the nose, and with bushy hair that seems to curl in its own profusion. The mouth under the heavy moustache is fixed and rather cruel looking, with peculiarly white, sharp teeth. For the rest, his ears are pale and at tops extremely pointed. The chin is broad and strong and the cheeks firm though thin. Hitherto, Jonathan noticed the back of Count's hand as they lie on his knees in the firelight, rather white and fine. When he noticed it closely, the hand seems coarse, broad, with squared fingers. Strangely, there are hairs in the center of the palm. The nails are long and fine and are cut to a sharp point. As Count leans over Jonathan and his hands touches him, Jonathan gets a horrible feeling of nausea, maybe because Count's breath is rank. Count Dracula, evidently noticing it, draws back and with a grim smile sits again on his side of the fireplace. Both of them sit silent for a while, and there seems a strange stillness over everything. As Jonathan listens to the howling of wolves from down below the valley, Count's eyes gleam and he says, "Listen to them, the children of night, what music they make." He adds, "Ah, sir, your dwellers in the city cannot enter into the feelings of the hunter." He then suggests Jonathan to have a sound sleep. In the morning, when Jonathan wakes up and goes to the room where he had supped last night, he finds a card on which it is written, "I have to be absent for a while. Do not wait for me." Undersigned D, which means Dracula. Jonathan then alone enjoys a happy meal, but he finds no servant to know he had finished. There seem certainly odd deficiencies in the house, considering the extraordinary evidences of wealth which rounds him. The table service is of gold and of immense value. The curtains and upholstery of chairs and sofas and the hangings of Jonathan's bed are of the costliest and most beautiful fabrics and must be of fabulous value when they were made, as they seem centuries old, but in an excellent order. Jonathan notices a strange thing. There is no mirror in any of the room. Jonathan opens a door in the room and finds a sort of library with vast number of English books and magazines. While Jonathan looks at the books, the door opens and Count enters. He accompanies Jonathan and both discuss about different topics. Jonathan finds Count speaking excellent English. Count tells Jonathan that he may go anywhere in the castle except where the doors are locked and says, "There is a reason that all things are as they are, and did you see with my eyes and know with my knowledge, you would perhaps better understand." Count tells Jonathan that they are in Transylvania and he may encounter many strange things there. Jonathan shares his experiences, rather strange experiences, of his travel, telling Count about the old lady, the people in the coach, and the driver of the carriage. Jonathan then tells Count about the estate Count wants to purchase, which is called Carfax, an ancient structure building of heavy stones. After supper, they talk until morning. Count then leaves and Jonathan goes to his room. In his room, Jonathan writes his diary. He is feared and diffuse. He writes that there is something strange about the place. He fears that he and Count Dracula are the only living soul within the place. After writing, he sleeps for few hours and feeling that he cannot sleep any further, gets up. He hangs his shaving glass by the window and is about to shave when suddenly he finds a hand on his shoulder and hears Count's voice saying good morning. This incident startles Jonathan because he did not see Count's reflection in the mirror when he came, though the glass covers the whole room behind him. Startled, he has a cut slightly which he did not notice at the moment. Having answered Count's greeting, he again looks into the mirror to check if he is mistaken. This time he is sure there would be no mistake as Count is near to his shoulders. To his surprise, there is no reflection of Count in the mirror. The whole room is visible but no reflection of the man standing beside him. This increases the vague feeling of uneasiness coming on the top of so many strange happenings. But at the instant Jonathan sees a cut had bled a little, he lays the razor down. When Count looks at Jonathan's face, his eyes blaze with a sort of demoniac fury, and he suddenly makes a grab at Jonathan's throat. Jonathan throws it away and Count's hand touches the beads of rosary. It makes an instant change in him and the fury passes away so quickly as if it wasn't there at all in his eyes. Count asks Jonathan to take care and sees his shaving glass. He throws it out of the window and the glass breaks into pieces. He then goes out of the room without uttering a word. Jonathan feels annoyed. After some time, when he goes to the dining room, he sees his breakfast already prepared but no signs of Count. He does his breakfast alone. Jonathan realizes that he has never seen Count having his meal. After breakfast, Jonathan goes to a room looking towards the south. The view from there is magnificent. The castle is on the very edge of a terrific precipice. A stone falling from the window will fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. Jonathan decides to explore further. Doors everywhere and all locked and bolted. He finds no available exit other than the windows in the castle walls. He realizes that the castle is a veritable prison and he is a prisoner. End of part 2.